there, and welcome to the latest episode of the Tarporley Podcast here. I'm here today with Sam from Manor House Cleaning, and we're looking forward to talking about Sam's business, about Tarporley and your experience here.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast, Sam.
Thank you everybody.
So Sam, we usually like to start these things off by talking about yourself and your connection to Tarporley, and we were saying just before we went on camera about how it's Yorkshire Day today, and you can hear clearly from your accent, Sam, so I'm sure our listeners will hear that you're not originally from Tarporley, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm from a village called Willesden in West Yorkshire, which is, I don't know if you know it, it's up near Haworth. It's about 3 miles from Haworth,
yes.
So Bronte country. I moved down here 11 years ago. It wasn't really a planned thing.
Okay.
My partner at that time was working down south, and we weren't seeing much of each other, so we decided that we would move somewhere a little bit in between Yorkshire and I think it was Southampton that he was working, and we also had a caravan in Wales.
Okay.
So this area was kind of like, it made up the triangle of where we needed to be.
Yes, yeah.
And we literally, because we were sort of 90 miles away, viewing properties was difficult.
Oh, I imagine.
One morning I was on Rightmove and we were looking for a place to rent, and this property came up in Calverley.
Oh, yes.
So I rang the estate agents, asked them if we could apply blind, and would I be stupid applying blind? And she said, certainly not, you'll be really, pleased with the property. So I completed an application form that day. 3 days later, they returned and said, you've got the house.
Amazing.
We'd no idea where we were coming. And we took a drive down one Sunday and fell in love with the place, as you would.
Yes,
it's just lovely. It's gorgeous.
Fantastic. I'm glad that's really worked out for you, because like you say, it's finding that sort of central location. And actually there's quite a few people in this Tarporley area who perhaps have holiday homes or caravans, etc. in North Wales. I used to have one by Bala in North Wales, but I know there's exactly. It's a really good spot for that, because you get sort of Cheshire life, and you can be up in the cities and things as well, but you can also go out to Wales and there's space there. It's a really good spot for all that.
It's amazing. You've got great train links. Last weekend we were down in Brighton, so getting the train from Crewe to Brighton, 3.5 hours.
There we go.
London I think was an hour and a half.
It is on the fast ones from Crewe, yes. Yeah. And given how long that drive would be on a hot day, if it was only just a couple of weeks ago, then I imagine the train was much more.
7.5 hours, I think it was, avoiding the M25.
Wow.
And my brother drove down. He came down and met us, and I think it took him 7.5 hours round the M25. So, I mean, that was a Friday, but even I don't think it's going to be any different on a Thursday or a Wednesday or
particularly going into these summer holidays. So it's a really good spot here in terms of the access and things we have to things. And how have you found the transition then from West Yorkshire? Like you say, you mentioned near Haworth. I was in Haworth myself in June, I think it was.
Right.
A beautiful part of the world, Bronte country, like you say, up and down the hillside there of all the cute shops. I remember thinking the experience, it was nice and very quaint with all the little sort of independent shops going up and down the street. And then I suppose there might be some similarities with Tarporley, do you find, in terms of having the independent shops and things?
There are, yes. Yeah, there are. I think the thing, it's beautiful down here. The countryside is gorgeous, and I love how green it is. But I do miss the hills.
Of course.
Yeah,
of course.
You've got such amazing landscapes and not many viewpoints. I know there's a sandstone trail, and I've yet to explore that.
Okay.
I've been up Beeston Castle, and the views from up there are amazing. And I had a horse on livery in Uckington, and we used to hack up, was it Quarry Bank?
Quarry Bank in Uckington, yes, yeah.
Oh, the views up there are spectacular.
There are. We've sold a couple of houses up there, and it's beautiful. You can see out past Jodrell Bank and out to the hills and things.
Yeah.
It's the Cheshire Plains and then some of those hills. So if you're looking for some other hills to explore in Cheshire, I recommend the Bickerton Hills, or like you say, being up at Beeston and Peckforton Castles up on the hills there. It does give you a really nice perspective. Or even just here near Tarporley High Street, when you're going down the hill to the bottom there off the A49, just sort of seeing out to the distance there, or off Kelsall Hill and seeing the plains. You get some beautiful vistas, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
But not quite comparing to West Yorkshire for you yet, then, no.
But you know, you've got to go up before you can come down, and that doesn't suit everybody either.
No,
you know,
not at all.
It's lovely here. It is,
of course.
and the fact that it's flat has got its advantages as well.
Definitely.
You know that you can walk. You're not going to get out sort of too tired too quickly, and there's lots of really lovely villages in and around.
That's it. There are lots of beautiful villages around Tarporley. Do you have any favourite spots since you've moved to the Tarporley area? Then do you spend much time here on the high street, or do you prefer going into sort of individual villages?
To be honest, I've not explored much because my mum got quite ill, so I had to go up to Yorkshire to support my parents most weekends, and I've kind of fallen into a habit of being up there more than being down here.
Okay.
But a couple of weeks ago, I went out with my hairdresser and a group of others. She was doing the white collar boxing at Chester Racecourse.
Okay.
So we ended up on Tarporley High Street at the end of the night, and it's the first time I've done. I won't call it a pub crawl because it wasn't, but you know, we were
pub crawl.
we were nipping in and out, and we ended up at the little tap.
Oh yes.
And it was like being on holiday. It was great. Everybody outside and just enjoying bottles of wine. That's
and
you know,
it's
it
nice
was
that we've
really
got so
nice.
many of those places here along the high street where you've got sort of little outdoor seating and drinking and eating. I mean, we've done one of the former episodes of this podcast further down the way at a wine shop where they also have sort of outdoor seating and things.
That's just opposite, isn't it? The wine and cheese. Yeah, I want to go there with my daughter when she comes back next. Yeah,
of course, of Bonjour Wines there. It's a really nice spot. So if you're looking for another place to add to your higher class Tarporley pub crawl, then it's a really nice spot too.
Yeah, no, it's got a lot to offer.
It does. So there's lots of really nice independent businesses. So I think we should talk more about your business as well then, Sam. So obviously, Manor House Cleaning, how did it come about? Did you used to clean previously whilst you were in Yorkshire? Was that something you set up new once you came down here?
No, I've worked in IT for 30-ish years. And when I came down here, I mean, I still worked in IT. I was working from home. I was an account manager. And when my daughter went off to university, I wanted to earn a little bit more money to support her. So I was looking for an evening job, and I came across an evening job in Tarporley cleaning one of the gyms, which was Instinct Gym.
Okay.
And I thought, rather than work for this agency, I'll go and have a word with them, because the guys down there, I think it was Dan and Chris, trained me to do a Tough Mudder about 4 years earlier when they were up at the Portal, when they were a much smaller gym. So I went down and had a chat with Dan, and I said, Dan, what's your problem? What are you looking for? You know, are you needing a new solution? And he went through a list of problems that his existing provider wasn't providing. So I just had this crazy idea of, right, okay, can I put a proposal together for you? And he said, yeah, that's fine. So I put a proposal together and set up a business almost kind of like overnight. I didn't really know what I was doing, I'll be honest.
It's amazing how these things start.
Yeah, it was very accidental, but it was probably meant to be. And he accepted the proposal. He said, come in, do a trial with us. So we did 3 nights. We brought the place up to scratch. And then they asked us if we wanted to sign a 12-month contract with them.
Excellent.
So I said yes, and at that time we were only doing evenings, so I was still doing my existing job and doing that in the evenings. And then unfortunately I lost my job just before Christmas, and I just thought over Christmas, right, what am I going to do? Do I want to go back into sales? You know, I could have walked into another sales job because it's quite incestuous, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I was unhappy in that job. I was working from home. It was isolating. It was lonely, and I didn't really enjoy it. And I was, you know, technology changes so fast, and I think unless you're really sort of into technology, it was hard to sort of keep up. And you know, so I just said to my mum and dad over Christmas, I said, right, I'm going to see where this company can go. And my dad thought it was a crazy idea. And he said his words to me were, my dad's really supportive, by the way, but he said, what if it fails And those words have stuck with me.
Right.
And I turned around to him and I said, Dad, there's no way this is going to fail. I won't let it fail. And I wake up and still sort of hear those words every day. When you have bad days, you know, it's like...
It gives you that drive, that determination.
Going. Yeah. So I didn't have a Facebook presence at that point, and I put a Facebook post up, I think it was the New Year's Eve, and I came back home on the 2nd of January and we were inundated with inquiries, do you do domestic cleaning? And I thought, wow, we could be onto something here.
The power of social media there, isn't it?
Yeah. So we grew quite quickly. I think within 3 months of me sort of being a self-employed person, if you like, I took on our first member of staff, and then we've been going, well, it'd be 3 years in October, and we're a team of 9 now. So
right.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. Nice to see how it grows and expands.
Yeah,
and things.
Yeah. It's grown organically, which is really nice. But I think we're at a point now where we're about to go VAT registered, which is exciting and sort of scary at the same time.
Of course.
But it's just sort of making me realise that actually, you know, we are in a position where we can sort of grow a little bit more, you know, but then you've got to learn more skills and keep up with compliance and, you know, legislation and all the rest of it. And I struggle with that, to be honest, I will admit it, and I sort of outsource as much as I can.
Nobody really teaches you these things when you start doing the business. You just start working because the opportunity's there, and then you have to learn the things as you go along, isn't it?
And I think as well, because I've been working in the business for such a long time, it's working on the business is something completely different.
Yes.
And, you know, you've got to be this different person, so it's kind of transitioning into that.
Of course. Well, it's exciting that it's growing, and it must be because you're doing really well with your clients and you're getting referrals and things off the back of those. What is it you do for your clients that means that they seem to be happy and keep coming back for more? I noticed recently that as well as doing domestic cleaning, you'd gone above and beyond and helped somebody with some gardening. Is that a regular occurrence? Is that a sort of a new thing?
It's not. I think every client's they're all individual. They've all got different needs, and this particular client, she's an elderly client, and she's losing her sight. She's not got very much sight left, and she's got this amazing. I don't know what you'd call it. She calls it her plant room, and it's, you know, attached to the side of a house. And in this house, or in this plant room, she's got a big grapevine that's like, I think she planted it about 50 years ago. She gets grapes every year, but she's a real fan of geraniums, and she can't see very much now. Okay. So, you know, I turn up. Most weeks we do assist with the cleaning. You know, we'll do the basics, do the priorities. But on this particular day, because this garden room had been neglected, let's say, and she asked me, and at first I felt like it was strange, you know, not to be actually cleaning, but she got so much from me helping her, and we scrubbed all the tiled floors and swept all the cobwebs out of the windows, and we'll do whatever we need to do to support people, really. Predominantly it's cleaning, but we do get asked weird and wonderful things.
Very good. It's going above and beyond to meet that client's needs and making them happy. That's excellent to see that you do that, and it must be why things are going well for you and things are growing, because you're finding a way to meet clients' needs rather than just doing the standard. That's really nice to see.
I think we fit into a niche with the elderly as well, because you've got care workers and you've got cleaners. Cleaners can't do care work, and care workers don't want to or can't do the cleaning because their visits are restricted to like half an hour.
They've got other things that they need to do in the time that they're there.
So putting together a support service, you know, you can kind of fill in the stops and, you know, assist people.
Excellent.
We do a little bit of everything, really.
That's really nice that it's that very sort of person and community-led approach of trying to support people. I really like that. That's very nice.
Yeah.
Have you got any sort of plans of what's coming next? You mentioned obviously you're going sort of VAT registered and there's more compliance coming forward. Is Are there plans to sort of expand in terms of the service that you offer, or is it just more and more? Is it domestic homes? Is it commercial premises? Because obviously you started with a gym.
Yeah, we do get commercial inquiries. I think we've got the business isn't split into two, but the teams are split into two. So we've got domestic employees, and we've got employees that cover the commercial contracts. So we're allowing it to grow in sort of both areas.
Okay.
I think what we would love and what we are working towards at the moment is to have a premises in Tarporley, so we can put the washing machines in there and the do all the laundry services, and
of course.
Staff can come and collect products and things like that. At the minute, I tend to be sort of here, there and everywhere.
Right.
Refilling products and delivering keys and exchanging cloths and mops and...
Keeping the logistics ticking over.
Yeah, replacing equipment that's broken and things like that. So to have a base would be great, and somewhere that, the people in the village can see us, can call in, can discuss their requirements with us. But yeah, I think I've got to sort of sit down and put a business plan together for, 20, well, is it worth doing it for 24, 25, but certainly 25, 26.
Of seeing how that might be, and having that presence on the high street. I mean, speaking from a perspective of Storeys, the company I work for, we found that having a presence here on the high street when we opened this office just over a year ago ourselves, it's really helped in terms of presence within the community. Yeah. So that sounds like a really lovely idea for yourself too. Very good. And so back to the start of talking about the business, you mentioned you started to get more business from a post on Facebook, and obviously with this podcast we'd love to try and help promote your business via our sort of social media channels and things. So we'll try and get more things out there. Is there anything else you'd like us to give a shout out to whilst we're here on the podcast? I
mean, going back to the type of cleaning that we do, and I mentioned the support, we do a lot of end of tenancy cleaning.
Okay.
We're starting to assist people with hoarding, and we've had conversations with, I forget the name of the charity, but they work in conjunction with the discharges at the Countess of Cheshire.
Okay.
So you've got issues with mainly the elderly are being kept in hospital longer because their houses aren't safe for them to return to.
Right, okay.
So that's more, a lot of the time it can be biohazardous, cleaning.
Right, yeah.
So that's something else that's on the radar for us, to train the staff in biohazard cleaning, so that we can assist these families
and their return to home
and getting them home sooner. Dealing with the hoarding issues. I know a couple of businesses that do, not in this area but further down south, that do work in this area, and it's just really nice work that they do. I mean, it's not pleasant work for us, but at the end result is you are helping somebody to get home sooner, start living a normal life as well. There's a lot of people out there that are struggling with their mental health, and I think that's sort of how it starts: bereavement, illness, injury. It can be a multitude of different things. We hear a lot of people saying, or I read a lot of comments online, oh, that's disgusting, how can somebody let their house get into that state? But until you actually understand, it's quite easy to snowball.
It's what's led to that, and then
So to get into that line of work would be really nice as well.
It sounds very rewarding, like you say, not particularly easy work to undertake, but very rewarding in the long run to be able to help families and help people get back into their homes and be comfortable in their environment. So that's very nice to see.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. So obviously with this podcast we'll give you a shout out on Facebook. I know you're on there. Are you on Instagram too? Which social channels are you on?
Mainly Facebook.
Mainly Facebook is the one. Very good. We'll make sure we tag it below when we're putting this out on social media. And it's been really lovely chatting to you, Sam.
And you. Thank you very much.